WF representing Palace, so let's tell you about Palace. Rolling straight to the ceiling, crowns and crystals, top like journeys, dishing out malice. Hold up, South London's grandest, far from bandits. Anything earned for a goal of elevation, just passing the team over here might finish that bright future we can't vanish. SE25 any day, that's sellers. Rev up the engines, no more reverse reactions, fan cams, bands on stream. Share up the team, support the dream team when eagles fly, make noise and scheme. Dare to dream or dream to dare, taking a step to become supreme.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all. It is once again time for the Wsl Academy Lowdown, and unfortunately I am not joined by my co-host Rich today as he is otherwise engaged, but it is with me. So, a lot to go on because considering there is no Academy games, but we do have the WSL, so that will be our focus on tonight's show. We'll also go over the international loan reports as well, and a bit more coming up across the week. If you haven't yet, if you are new to the channel, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel as we continue on this amazing year here at Eagle-Eyed Football. And I say let's just get into it. First off, Mitch, thank you very much for joining us. Absolutely gutting WSL result, especially when Everton got a super controversial win against Liverpool. I do agree. So let's talk about the WSL right now. Aston Villa 3, Crystal Palace 2. Tough one to take. This was a tough game. And I think, first off and foremost, we applied ourselves to the game very, very well. I think we were deserving of a point in this game. The winning goal is a superb strike, it has to be said. I give credit where credit is due. This was just a tough loss to take, especially when we were so deserving of our efforts that we put into this game, the wherewithal that we put into this game, and we were quite vociferous in our efforts to get back into this game. Just unfortunately, it just had to be on the day that Villa's finishing efforts were a lot better than ours, and yeah, it fell to a last second winner for Aston Villa. But let's talk about the start of the game. Aston Villa, straight off from the whistle, inside the first 2 minutes, have of many multiple chances that are either saved by Yanez or they're just wide of the posts. But Yanez, very, very much commanding in her area. I think she's too easily tested in this game. The defense does not help her. I'm gonna have to be first time across the season. I'm going to be quite critical of the defending in this game. We weren't defending very, very well. We would lose. Aston Villa were creating chances too easily. We're not closing them down quick enough. Rachel Daly is pretty much just left unmarked for most of the game. And it took, I think, just before Villa got there, before we got our second goal, before we equalised, Daly had to be actually like almost held to the ground by Yanez in a 50-50 chance that she went for. But it was the first 2 minutes that really put us under the pressure of what Aston Villa can definitely do. We've seen this last season in the WSL with their talents, and now with even more. This was a tough game, but we definitely did acquit ourselves well. Blanchard returns to the side after a spell of absence, so Veerden has moved to the bench. As I said, Yanez saves brilliantly from a Nobbs effort from just outside the box, and it is a superb save. And this was a stat that Yanez is the busiest goalkeeper in the WSL so far, more saves than any goalkeeper. That's a double-edged sword. If you don't mind me focusing on this point for very, very quickly. This is a double-edged sword for two reasons. One, great, we've got a goalkeeper that can save, that can command her area. Wonderful. That's the pro side. The con side is too many shots. Need to be closing them down. Need to be tackling a lot more. This isn't the championship. This is the WSL. We can't go into this. We can't go into the next few games thinking, oh yeah, let's have a bit of fun here. Let's take our time. No, certainly this game proved that teams are going for the kill. They need to lock off 3 points very quickly. Um, so Mailing misses the target off of a very close range shot, which is saved by D'Angelo, the Aston Villa goalkeeper, who I have to say, despite the fact that she conceded two in this game, was superb. Villa goalkeeper was absolutely superb, and I think credit to her because there were a lot of good shots that Palace put in that I think any other team probably might have conceded. If we were still in the championship, those shots rather would have been goals. Mitch replies to the good news is with that Yanez has been making the good saves. Important when you're in a relegation battle, since it's inevitable that your goalkeeper will be seeing a lot of traffic. Yes, and exactly, we're not doing her a lot of favors right now. The defense has to be called into question because on one side, with creating chances and finishing chances, we've always we've never struggled with that. Even in the championship last season and this season, you can say creating chances, we are there. Finishing, we're getting there for this season. We haven't scored a lot of goals, but the goals we have scored have come from great chances created by good build-up play. On the other side, defending is we're starting to make the men's team defense look good. I said it. I'm gonna let that sit. Let that one sit. We're starting to make the main men's squad look good defending. So, um, let's move on to the biggest positive of this game. Mikato, with an excellent strike into the bottom left-hand corner, scores her very first goal for Crystal Palace. Let the fireworks commence. Sing it from the rooftops. Mikato is off the mark for Crystal Palace, and it is a wonderful effort. Who works so Gagel works the ball into space. It's from a pass from Blanchard, passes the ball to Kato into the bottom corner, finds the net, and it is a wonderful low ball strike. And you can definitely see that she has been waiting for this chance to score, and finally the book is opened, the account is opened for her. So congratulations, me Kato. Um, Unfortunately, we can't celebrate for long. Patton equalizes after finding space in the box, and again the defense. It takes way too long to close this ball down. And you see Yanez, if you've watched the game back, or you watching the game, or you were at the game, or even watched the highlights, you can see Yanez is very angry with the defenders because no one has closed anyone down. We had about 4, 5, 6 seconds before that shot went in at the near post for Yanez. And again, we bring up the point that Mitch made. We're not doing her any favors, so the defense needs to get better on this because to concede a goal at the near post, one is very bad, but to concede it in the manner that we did was ridiculous, and I really hated seeing that goal go in. Um, Daly makes it 2-1 before half time. Shot again at the near post. I think this time no one really at fault except Yanez. Can't be conceding at the near post. But it is a well-timed strike from Daly. She's definitely a goal threat. She's proven that. Um, Nunez How she missed this. So Villa have another chance into the second half. And this is what I was talking about when Yanez and Daly had gone for a 50-50 ball. Both players were down, and then the ball falls to Nunez of Aston Villa, and she fires it over the net, over the goal, into Rosed. Golden chance there. Absolutely golden chance. But oh, this chance really this chance really could have been something. Stengel gets contact on a wooden cross, but the header is just too high. Oh, that would have been a good goal, but I'm going to say it again. She is my favourite Crystal Palace women's player. Do you know what? So far, across, I'm actually going to. No, you know, I'll stick by my words. I will stick. Annabelle Blanchard is the best Crystal Palace Football Club player this season in both men's and women's main squad teams. I know we don't have a women's under 21s team, but across from the Premier League and the WSL squads, Annabelle Blanchard has been number one player for me. She returns and is back on the score sheet off of a beautiful cross from Vieren. Absolutely brilliant cross from her. On from the left flank, finds Blanchard, puts it in leveler, and there we go, 2-2. And then I can't even fault the goal. I really can't because the goal to concede to Villa's third goal was it were decent. It were decent. So Salmon wins the game. Fierce strike up into the top right hand corner. No keeper. I'm gonna no keeper in the WSL will save that. Absolutely none. Can't. I'm not gonna fault Yanez for it. And it's 1 minute from the end of the game. I think our heads dropped. Our heads did drop, and then we got punished for it. But in a tough game like this, a winner like that, it's tough to be critical of the entire team and the entire 90-minute game. So I think the improvement that is needed is definitely in the defending and definitely in the closing down and the stopping of the opposition creating chances. Because if we can do that and then counter very quickly, as we have seen us do this season, we've got we've got you know we've got the system in place to then go and punish the opposition. But work needs to be done for that one. Were we fair to this result? I'm not sure. I think based on this game, I think we were. Well, I don't think we were lucky to score. I think we were unfortunate based on the balance of the game. Um, if you disagree with me, please put in. Big up Tim. Tim can't stay because of work, but wanted to quickly give props to the women's team. Gutting result, but I love the fight, the style, fully deserved to stay up. Virden was a brilliant sub. Yes, Virden definitely was the super sub to supply the goal for Blanchard. Definitely up the tempo for us in the second half. Great choice by Kaminsky to put her in. Speaking of the gaffer, let me just go over her notes of what she said. So she has said she was frustrated and disappointed to let the game go in the final seconds of the game. I'm going to quote verbatim here, so you will excuse me if I don't quote her completely. You can also go ahead and read the full interview on the Crystal Palace website or app. I think both myself and the players are frustrated about that being losing it in the last few seconds, and we know that we've got to manage those moments in the game better. We've done so well, by the way, to take the top sides and stay in the game. Um, she went on to heap praise on Ashley Virden's contribution, as well as the quality on the bench, as we just mentioned here. Up. Thank you, Tim. Up the Palace as always. Thank you very much, Tim. Um, back to Kaminsky talking about the bench and Viren. It was a great impact from the sub Ashley to get a great delivery in, and it was good contact for Annabelle Blanchard's finish. But it's not just the starting 11. The bench has offered impact now across a few weeks, and that's a credit to the group of players. And I think that has been such a difference maker in terms of our transfer window, is that we had a group of players come in who gelled very, very quickly under a good manager. The tactics were sound. The choices of players in the starting 11 were sound. It's just getting that string of results. And I think what is needed there is momentum. We need momentum to keep all these getting points here and there. This isn't going to be a super season where we're going to go on a super run. I think we scratch what points we can. We claw out the teams that need that can be counted on, and then we stay up, and then we can build from there. So momentum is needed in the next few games um, for the to stay up in the league. Kaminsky very, very keen to emphasize the positives in this game as well. And coming up now, the next game will be on Sunday, the 24th of November at 2 o'clock, as we face Charlton Athletic in the Women's League Cup. Now, where does this leave us in the table? Well, unfortunately, we are now bottom of the WSL on 5 points. Leicester and West Ham United, respectively, are just above us, both on 5 points, but only above us on the grace of goal difference. Everton, with their raw, dodgy win in a Merseyside derby against Liverpool, they now are in ninth on 6 points, and above them was Aston Villa, who are now on 6 points as well, only ahead by the grace of goal difference. So 3 points definitely changes the landscape of this half of the Women's Super League, because 3 points would send a team sky high, when 3 points for us would send us as high as 7th if results go our way. Lot to play for. Long season, only 8 games in, but we need to work on the defending, because we now have the worst goal record in the WSL this season. We're on negative 14 goal difference. That is going to play a huge factor in the results and how the league develops across the rest of the season. So obviously Charlton Athletic next in the League Cup, but then we are away to West Ham United on the 8th of December. So we have a bit of a break now from league action for the women's team. And that is your report for the WSL. So not much else to say. If you have something to say about the Women's Super League or anything else, pop it in. Not that long of a season, 22 matches. Yeah, we're coming up on the halfway point. We're coming up on the halfway point, but still a while to go. Still a while to go, and I will remain hopeful, Mitch, that Kaminsky can pull this team through and we can stay up. Let's talk about the international loans, shall we? So, and this is going to be quite bitter for me. So, I watched this game at work last night, and I knew this was never going to be a win. This was never ever going to happen for Ireland, but I was hoping that there would be something to, be happy about with this game. So I say we had 45 minutes where we didn't concede a goal, and then England decided, oh wait, we've got to win this game, and then they decided to beat us 5-0. Us being Ireland, right? Mark Gahey though had a super game, got his second assist for England as England won 5-0 against a 10-man Ireland squad. Yay. Right, but who did he assist? A familiar face to all Crystal Palace fans, Conor Gallagher, who now plays, who actually still plays in red and blue. Ah, he's in red and blue. It doesn't count though. He's in a much better red and blue team. He plays for Atletico Madrid. So Gahey, from the near post, from a corner, flicked the ball on for Gallagher, and point blank range, 3 goals in like 5 minutes for England. It's that was tough to take. Mitch, I remain hopeful too, just trying to calibrate things since it's easy to see 8 games in and calibrate based on what that means in a 38 game Premier League season. Do you know what? I'm guilty of that as well. I'm very, very guilty thinking that it is a 38 game season. I think a lot of us who are so used to the 38 game season, when we think of, hang on, 22 games only in the WSL, it does fuddle the brain a little bit up. Um, the good news is with one relegation spot, you don't need anything near 1 point a game to step. Yes, we don't have to average getting points a game, but some more points would be nice. Just saying. Right. Dean Henderson was an unused substitution in both the Greece and Ireland matches. And those were our 2 England international selections before, well, as the end of the Lee Carsley era. Um, Chris Richards and Matt Turner have both been named in Maurizio Pochettino's roster for the CONCACAF Nations League quarterfinals against Jamaica. The first leg was a 1-0 win, with Turner keeping a clean sheet. And I do believe that's it for America. Ismail Assar was I think these guys have only a few of them have only just arrived for internationals. So I think they're still playing. So there may be some games left to play for some nations, especially for Ismail Assar's Senegal. They play Burundi in tomorrow. In fact, yes, tomorrow at 7. Um, so they beat Burkina Faso on Thursday night to take them to the top of their qualifying group for next year's AFCON. Um, 65 caps and 13 goals for the Senegalese winger. That's nothing to snub your nose at. Daichi Kamada, still a controversial name to say, especially after the game. Right, anyway. Um, they beat Indonesia 4-0 in their Group C qualification for the FIFA World Cup in 2026, with Kamada getting an assist. So well done to him. Daniel Munoz is playing Ecuador at the Metropolitano tomorrow, as they continue on their World Cup qualifiers as well. Jefferson Lerma is injured for that one. And let's talk about our brand new call up, Jason Devaney. Who's Jason Devaney? Justin Devaney, who was called up for the very first time in his career for the Northern Irish senior international squad, and he was not named in the squad for their 2-0 win over Belarus in Belfast, but could play or should be playing right now. So let's actually find this out. Bear with me. Let's find this out right now if he is playing in the Nations League. They're only 9 minutes in, so let's have a look in the teams. No, he's named on the bench. Okay, so Defeni is on the bench, so chances are could make an appearance against Luxembourg tonight. Jezerin Raksaki earned his first ever call-up for the England under-21s after showing super form for Sheffield United. I was about to say Sheffield Wednesday. I don't know my Sheffields. He came on as a substitute in the 68th minute in a 0-0 draw against Spain's under-21s in Cadiz. He will hopefully feature in a second friendly in Almere against the Netherlands later on this week. Let's have a look. When is that game? That is tonight. Oh, that was on, because now it's 5-8 and they played at 7:45. So bear with me. Let's find out if he featured in this game. Very informal stream today, guys. Very informal. Let's have a look. As that website loads up. But international watch that brings us to an end to the international watch. But there's a few players who were out on loan who did play, and what a surprise! We have to talk about Joe Whitworth. I do believe that was the. Did we see Jezrin Raksaki play in this game? I do not believe so. No, it doesn't tell me. Well, isn't that fun? That's great. Thanks, England website, for not telling us if players played. Great. Right, Loan Watch before we wrap up. Super Joe Whitworth. He is brilliant, as we've said all season. Another man of the match performance as he keeps a nine clean sheets in 14 appearances for Exeter City. I'm not sure what else to say. That it speaks for itself. He's amazing, absolutely amazing talent. Definitely getting his just rewards. So yeah, he was man of the match in a 0-0 game against Lincoln City, and yeah, I actually has a quote here. Let's have a look. He actually does go on to credit the defense as well. He doesn't just take all the praise for himself. He gives praise to his defenders as well. UK Pat, big up. How many years in till Joe is number one? I would say he's number two next season for sure, for sure. Because if he isn't, problem, big problem. He's definitely number two. I think Henderson is definitely going to be number one for a while until he moves on. I don't think he'll be number one goalkeeper. He is young. He's very, very young, so we have to hamper our expectations because we see a lot more goalkeepers now who are starting in the Premier League are 25 plus, who are, they're well established goalkeepers. Whitworth, I think, maybe a little more time. He could be if he stays at the club, but the club could go in one direction and he could follow that on and he could leave Crystal Palace. Hopefully he doesn't, knock on wood. Um, but yeah. Teo Daramola featured for Stockport County as they won 1-0 over Wrexham. He came on as a sub in the 83rd minute. Owen Goodman continued fine form as they beat Barrow 3-1, that being Wimbledon. They're now 10th, but have 3 games in hand because of their stadium issues earlier this year. Danny Imre made a 13th start for Bromley as they drew with Carlisle United in League Two. They are currently in 20th, 4 points above the relegation zone. So a good start for Bromley as they actually, this is their first time in the Football League. Mitch, good point. Also depends if we stay in the Premier League. Jack Wells Morrison played a full 90 minutes as Wealdstone beat Rochdale 2-0, and Roshan Maturin was an unused sub in Hartlepool's 0-0 draw with Eastleigh. And that is all I've got there. And that is all. Lovely. Well, guys, thank you for putting up with just me. I know it's nice to have Rich here. It's nice to have someone to discuss these points with. Hopefully next week we'll have someone with me. He's just busy this evening. Coming up later this week, we have Tact Eagle tomorrow for our visit to Aston Villa. Premier League football's back, guys. Are we excited? No. This is the good thing about international football. Crystal Palace has not been on my mind. Oh God. the stress is back. And then on Thursday or Friday, depending on scheduling, we will have our Aston Villa match preview. Um, Obviously, then match review, fan cams, all that stuff coming out across the weekend. So stay tuned to all the social medias for the announcements and everything. And if you haven't already, go back and watch JC and Rich react to the annual kickabout for that we did later this year, earlier this year, before this season started. Joined by KG, uh, a few other friends of the channel as well. Go back and watch it because it is hilarious to watch. Um, and hopefully we'll have some more news regarding that coming up soon. But stay tuned to the channel, guys. Not much else to say except those magic three words. Up the palace.